presenters or guests. J-Air presents a wide variety of views and opinions, which is to the benefit and purpose of community radio.
The right stuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harry
I can't see your face at
Rabbi
all.
Pesach back in the studio for another week. How are we, Rabbi?
Hello.
Get on your microphone. Don't worry. The light doesn't matter if you can't
There
see
you
my
are.
face on the live stream.
Why?
Well, because it's not the best face to look at.
That's the
Anyway, this is why
that's the
nobody
face that
looks.
attracts everyone.
This is why
Harry.
nobody watches, because my face is there.
That's why we're on. You've got a
Yes,
face
and
for
I'm sorry-
radio.
Yeah. So, what's been happening in your world?
How are we?
We are well. Actually, I
good.
forgot to do my regular introduction. You got me so distracted with you schmidrying around with the camera.
My gosh, something must have actually worked.
No, good evening, ladies. Good
Something
evening, ladies and
works.
gentlemen. And now that I have assumed your genders, it is Harry and Rabbi Pesach. And
Good
yeah, I'd
evening,
like to
Harry.
apologise that you had to listen to that.
No.
What?
No. We're not doing that. I'm not going backwards. We're only going forwards.
Exactly.
Do you remember Rabbi Gutnick? Forward,
I remember-
onward,
you know what?
upward.
The only thing I remember Rabbi Gutnick,
Yeah.
he who gives salvation unto
Kings
kings and dominion unto princes,
whose
who is an everlasting kingdom. May he serve
bless
our
us.
sovereign lady,
Actually,
Queen
we shouldn't be making
Elizabeth.
fun of that either.
Why?
Well, it's meant to be serious. There's nothing you can crack jokes about anymore.
No. It's everything.
I'm out. Can we? Is there such a
Everything
thing
is
as a
now
parody?
sacred. Everything is now
Wow.
is now a sacred cow.
So-
Hello to all our Hindu listeners.
Good evening, Harry. Good evening, listeners. So tonight should be an interesting evening.
What's been happening
It's,
in your world?
It's been my birthday this week.
Mazel tov.
We're going to talk about Harry and his
Da-da.
motorbike show and his cars that he's got running.
I don't know.
I saw an engine running.
Well, I finally got an engine running. Yes.
And Melbourne Uni anti-Semitism
Yes.
on the back of Yom HaShoah, and
Those-
today Yom HaZikaron, and tonight tomorrow Yom
Yom
HaAtzmaut.
HaAtzmaut.
Seriously, pick a time.
What I want to know is, and actually, if someone could give us a call
About
from Orges as to what are they doing about this? What sort of resistance are they putting up?
I can tell you a bit about what happened in the background. We're going to talk about Never Again
Yep,
because I have issues with Never
because
Again.
it happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. How do you say Never Again when it keeps happening? When it happens again and again? Giving away
I think
tefillin.
what we mean when we say never again is never again to us.
Well, there's an issue with that as well
I think
because
so.
yep, giving away tefillin. Holes in a plane. I want to tell you later all about holes in a plane that I learnt tonight. Holes in a plane.
Okay.
You're going to tell us something about this buying 40% of your home. The government's going to buy 40%.
Oh
of
yeah, it's one of the I think it's one of the only policies to have been released by Albo and his band of merry idiots that they're
It's
going to
seriously idiotic.
introduce a scheme for up to 10,000 Australians a year. The government will provide up to 40% of the equity in a house that they wish to buy.
All right, so we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about your favourite topic of the week or of the year or of the millennium, Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity.
You know what? It was just an interesting little video I came across, and I felt the need to share it.
You need to turn off YouTube. There's much too much YouTube. Like, we're getting ourselves into deep water with all the stuff you're learning.
But you know, it's interesting though. You know, a lot of people get onto platforms like YouTube and TikTok to watch somebody else's kids do some weird dance.
Yeah.
I just click on random stuff and
Well, I have-
learn how the world works.
I've turned off Reels.
Reels, what are reels?
You don't know what Reels are.
No.
Anyone who wants to ring in and tell Harry what Reels are,
90692087. What are reels?
well, I've turned them off.
Okay.
And
Where do you find reels?
interest rates finally went up.
They did. Probably should have gone up, I don't know, 6 months ago
Yeah.
at a minimum. I'm
now
sure
it's
you
doing
and
in the
I.
month of the
I'm sure
elections.
you and I were sitting around when all this job seeker and job keeper stuff was starting,
Yep.
and saying that all this is going to do is cause some massive inflation bomb somewhere down the line.
All right.
And
So we'll
here
talk about
is.
it later.
Okay.
And let's hit a promo and then we'll talk about the birthday.
Enjoy listening to J-Air? Support us and become a member by visiting our website j-air.com.au.
Yeah,
Turn the volume off on your phone.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
I always forget to do that.
you do.
Do you know what there should be on your phone? With NFC, which is where you can use your phone as a credit card. Do you use that yet?
No.
Where you can tap it?
No. Remember, I don't know what a reel is.
Right. So
No, I don't
why
want my
can they
phone-
not make
I
it?
do not want my phone to be my wallet.
It's so good. I haven't carried a wallet around in ages.
Yeah. But you see, I'm either going to lose one or the other.
But seriously, they need to make it so that
Whereas if I lose one, then I lose both.
your NFC doesn't. Your
There used to be a company called NFC.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, they were.
Remind me?
Yeah, no effing chance finance. I can't remember what the NFC stood for.
Weren't
but
they next door to
when I was-
Buckley's and
when I
Nunn?
was when I was selling cars, that's what we used to refer to them as. It was NFC. They were in. I think they sold warranties or something.
But anyway,
Anyway,
with NFC,
you celebrated a birthday. You've
Okay.
You've done another.
I just want to say with NFC, if someone's out there in the Android world, can you please find a way to turn NFC off after like 10 seconds? Like I want to turn it on to pay and then turn it off so no one can walk past me and go zip.
on sort of RFD,
Yeah, that's right. That's what I want.
RFID your phone.
Exactly.
See, this is why I just carry my wallet.
So it was my birthday,
It was.
and it was lots of fun.
Had to
Harry.
celebrate.
We went out to dinner. That was nice. We went out to Super Bistro. I thoroughly recommend Super Bistro, by
Where's
the way.
Super Bistro? I've never
It's
been.
where the old Almazet is. Do you remember Almazet?
Oh, yes.
So that was a lot of fun. And what else? We went and the next night I actually made us all steaks and chips and veggies at home, which was really nice. I made chicken soup for
Mhm.
anyone who needs or wants. So I've got about 40 containers of chicken soup at home if anyone needs or wants chicken soup if you've got COVID. Or you know someone who's got COVID or someone's sick and wants some chicken soup to make themselves feel better, come by. And I got some presents. I got my new Ugg boots.
You got
Look
Ugg
at my
boots.
Ugg boots.
Yeah.
Look
They're-
at that.
Yes. They're very Uggy.
They're outdoor Ugg boots.
There's no such thing as an outdoor Ugg boot.
What do you think they used to wear in
There's
Ireland? Mel Gibson walked
There's
around for a whole
no
movie.
yeah, but we're not living in, ancient Ireland, right? There is no reason to be wearing Ugg boots outside the house.
It's so much fun now that it's winter
this is an
time.
argument I'm
Now
always
that it's
having-
15 degrees
But this is an
outside.
argument I'm always having with my wife.
Yeah.
You can't go to the super. I mean, I'm not saying you got to put on a ball gown, dear, but you can't go to the supermarket dressed like that. Why not? Well, this for Kadam Gazuk, someone who knows you
What do you
might
care?
see you.
What do you
might
care?
see you, and then
What do
all of
you
a sudden, it's like,
care?
oh, that poor Tammy, she has to run around in rags. What sort of shrubs is Harry? He doesn't.
But like, you're the person who doesn't care about this stuff.
I care if I look like a homeless person. I don't want people feeling. I don't mind if people think I'm crazy.
I must say
I just
I'm-
don't want them feeling sorry for me. There's
I'm
a difference.
I'm slightly surprised, Harry,
Surprised at what?
that you care about what people think about you.
It's not. People are going to think something about you.
Yeah.
I'd simply rather control that narrative. So I kind of like being the crazy bloke walking around the streets of
With
the
a hat.
Schmaltzbelt with a cowboy hat. You know,
I was going to wear
I'm-
my dressing gown tonight.
I'm the Schmaltzbelt cowboy.
I also got a Talmud payout from my dad, so we can
Just in time.
Just in time. Harry and I study every Shabbos morning at 8 a.m. And we're just finishing now brachot,
Brachot,
which has taken us about
second part.
how many years? I'd say it's about
3.
3.
Yeah, because 2 years of lockdown.
Isn't just the second part
No,
3 years?
no.
It feels like it's taken us about 5 years since the beginning of brachos.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The whole of brachot.
Oh, the whole of Brachot. Yeah, I reckon we've spent about 5 years on it.
Oh my gosh.
But we've done some quality learning. Like, we've really delved into it and pulled out other source documents and
Penny Super made a comment.
did he?
He said, "What's new on
On
Zoe,
Zoe,
the
the
radical
radical
left
left
Daniels?" Ah,
I don't
Zo-
know. Did she get a tattoo?
Penny,
I
give us a
don't-
call on 90692087 and let us know what the hell you're talking. Is that Zoe Stegel?
No, Zoe Stegel is, or Zali Stegel's running in
Zali.
New South Wales. Zoe is the one, if I remember correctly, she's running up against Tim Wilson in Goldstein, who apparently her platform or her pitch to the Jewish community within Goldstein is, I'm a safer bet than some of the other people. What's she trying to say?
And who is she with? An independent or?
Well, she's one
Labor or-
of these teal group people.
What's
so
a
she's
teal? What the hell's a teal?
so
group?
there are all these independents. They're
Yeah.
they're part of the Climate 200 group
All right.
that is being sponsored by Robert Holmes à Court.
What?
Yep, Robert Holmes à Court. He's putting up the money for these people
Is he,
to run as independents.
is he our version of that guy in America? That
I think he's basically our version of George Soros.
Of George
He's
Soros.
like a local
hang on,
George
Robert Holmes
Soros.
Court's dead.
And no,
Yes.
this is no. It's definitely a Holmes à Court. Robert
Okay.
Holmes à Court Jr.
Maybe it's Junior.
I don't know. There's so much political stuff going on.
There's
at the
so
moment.
much politics
It's hard
going
to,
on.
if you actually work a
Penny,
day job.
give us a call or send us a message.
That's
What's it all
But
about?
if you actually work a day job, like, it's hard to keep up with who's who in the zoo all the time.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
So
to
anyway,
keep
there
you
are
on
all
track.
these people who are running as independents, but they're all like running under the same policies, the same banner, the same colour. So they're the teal independents. These are the people that you'll hear Josh Frydenberg or Scott Morrison or Greg Hunt or any of the other Liberals referring to as the fake independents, because they're not really independents. They are a group
Of lefties or Labor.
like-minded individuals that, from
and,
what
and, and
I
probably
can,
all their votes will go
from
to Labor anyway.
what I can tell, they're not running in seats that they can really win. Like, I know at the moment they're talking, Josh Frydenberg could lose his seat because of this doctor who's running against him, who's another one of these teal people, or Tim Wilson could lose his seat to this Zoe Daniels, who's another teal person. There's one, I can't remember the seat up in Sydney, I think it is at Wentworth, up in Sydney, similar sort of
Right.
thing, where all these people really are aiming to do, it seems to me, is to oust the Liberal candidates. They're not really interested in winning themselves. They know they don't have a snowflake's chance in hell of winning themselves, because their preferences, I think, are all going to the Labor Party. So they're really running to bolster the Labor Party vote, not to actually end up with any material power within the halls of Parliament.
Right.
That's the way I'm reading.
Yep.
I'm reading that.
But they'll have balance of power or something like that. Hang on, I want to tell you something else about my birthday.
Oh, we're still sorry. I thought we were talking politics.
We
How do we go from
We
your
segued
birthday? This is
because
such-
of Penny.
Yeah. You know, and
We'll have to learn
And you know
to.
what? This is why we get complaints from the outside world, because
About
people
why?
just don't understand how Jewish conversations work.
Right, we're off on tangents. It's
Tangents.
just tangents.
But now, back to the birthday.
Play golf with my dad.
Why did you do that to him?
He likes it.
Really?
We got there and I said, "Shall we get a cart today?" And he said, "What's the point of even coming if you're not gonna
I
walk?"
thought that both of you were smarter than that. Just
I
go for a nice walk somewhere.
I hit my first 2 balls into the creek. Then I pulled out a golf ball that I haven't used in about 15 years. Well, I haven't even used it. It was from the Hyatt Coolum, which is no longer existent. No, it no longer extant.
Does it have any collector value?
Maybe it does.
Not anymore. It's in the creek.
And what was the last thing? And my kids bought me a new mobile phone because I was maxing out the old one all the time.
Very good. I think we're due for new mobile phones.
And I just want to say, I just got a message from Rosine Heller, who's an older friend of mine, of ours,
Yep.
and she was in hospital and she's on the
Oh.
mend, Baruch Hashem.
Very good.
So refuah
Refuah
shalom
shalom
to
to you.
Rosine. I wanted to hear about your bike motorbike adventure that you went to. What on earth? You posted some videos of something you went to?
Tam posted. I mean, it was just a car show.
You did go, right?
Yeah, we did. So Sunday morning, we got up Sunday morning. There was a show called Motorex,
Yeah.
which is a pretty big deal in the custom car world. And I knew a couple of guys that had their cars on display there. So weather was going to be good. You know what, boys? Let's jump on the bikes, go to the showgrounds. We'll spend, the day, whatever. And Tam really took. They had a drifting display. Like the Fast and the
Oh, was
Furious.
that there too? I thought that was something she just saw online.
No.
You saw that?
We were there. So she'd never seen drifting before. It's like, oh, wow, I really love that. Yeah, just standing there for I don't know how long. And I was actually quite amazed. Not only did she enjoy that part of it because it's loud, there's just tire smoke everywhere. Like everything about my cars
Yeah.
that she hates,
Was there?
she was totally enthralled
Yeah.
with other people doing it with their cars. Go figure. Like it's okay when they do it. But anyway, that's
I can imagine her in her learner's car, actually drifting.
yeah.
I could imagine
Unfortunately,
doing
unfortunately,
some
it's front
drifting.
wheel drive. Like we're standing there, just going, "Oh, this is amazing! Why don't we do this?"
Could
It's
she
like,
do it? Could you do
boys,
it?
could I build a car to do that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So Abe's on the lookout at the moment. Just don't tell Tam.
Right.
Oh,
And and you got one of your cars is running?
yeah! Finally got the patrol running. So,
Congratulations.
oh, geez, it's been a long.
You were waiting
Bit
on
of
some
work.
parts.
Yeah, well, I had to wait for the head to come in.
Yeah.
So I actually sent that off for machining, and then it took the machine shop weeks to get the work done to that, so I could get that back and then finally time everything up. And it takes a long while, and then to actually get it running in its sweet spot, like every time you want to adjust something, it's like a 2.5 to 3 hour operation.
Really?
Yeah.
When I was
So-
listening to you turn it on online, it didn't sound quite sweet.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Oh,
So
oh, good,
actually,
good.
I should have.
I was wondering what your idea of sweet
I
is.
should have posted up today because I think I've now got it in the sweet spot. So
okay.
being a diesel, I've got white smoke when I start it up, black smoke under acceleration, and then it runs clear.
What was
So-
the MX-5?
Oh, it was,
Why wouldn't I be good in an MX-5?
What do you mean? Why wouldn't you be good in MX-5?
You said, I said, maybe that's my next car or something. You said, yeah, no.
No, I'm sure I didn't say that to you.
You did.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, mate.
It looked like fun. You were driving it around the car park.
That's terrible.
What do you mean?
For me, it's terrible.
Well, you were way up above the
That's
windshield.
right, because I look above the windscreen. It was just a mate of Abe's, a friend of Abe's bought the car and came around and went, "Oh, what do you think it is? What do I think of it? Give me the keys. Let's have a drive." And yeah, it didn't take long for me to go. Okay, been there, done that. Over it. Next.
Yeah.
So no, I won't be
I thought
buying
it
an
was
MX-5. They are cute little cars. If you're a cute little person like you.
So, noch on the day of Yom HaShoah, or the day after, whatever it was, a bunch of leftards, I'm just going to say leftard because that's the way I feel, they got together at Melbourne University in the Monash Student Union, the board or something like that. Sorry, Melbourne University.
Melbourne University Students Union.
And they made a BDS. BDS has obviously approached them, and they're all lefties and greenies and whatever, so they're automatically anti-Semites. And they've just drafted the worst motion that's gone through Monash Student Union according to this BDS principle, and it's thankfully the University of Melbourne has spoken out against it. But it's just terrible. What they've said is terrible.
Well, they basically said that Zionism is colonialism.
Yeah.
I'll
read some of
which,
it. Accuses Israel of massacres, forced expulsion, ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, calls Zionism a racist colonial ideology, supports the rights of Palestinians to engage in self-defense against their occupiers, claims all form of anti-Semitism against students... it condemns all forms of anti-Semitism against students of the Jewish faith, except that Palestinians have the right to self-defense against their occupiers.
And what's really sad about this statement is it just goes to show that university students are not encouraged to seek out the evidence.
Right.
Clearly, whoever has
in their own little bubbles.
managed to pass this resolution through the student union has simply been fed these ideas without any evidence.
I don't think they realise any idea what the Jewish people have gone through, how throughout
No.
all of the Middle East and Northern Africa, how Jews have been expelled
But
for the
mind
last
you-
100+ years.
Mind you ask these people if they believe that indigenous peoples all over the world should have, land returned to them, they'll be the first ones to go, oh yeah, okay, so who were the indigenous occupiers of Israel?
Yeah. And they'll say the Palestinians, because they've just airbrushed out all of it.
They've
They've said
had
that
to
Zionism.
airbrush out 3,000 years of history. You've had to airbrush out the fact that every day artifacts are being found from a civilization that has been in that area for 2,500 to 3,000 years,
Yep.
yet nothing ever appears from a Palestinian state.
Right, exactly.
Like there's
And they say that Zionism
There's
and
nothing.
Judaism are two separate,
two completely separate things.
which
But
is absolutely like Zionism is one of the core principles of Judaism. It's almost impossible to not be to be a Jew and not be a Zionist, because we yearn for the Jewish
that's
return to
that's right.
Israel.
You can't be one without the other.
Yeah, and if you are, I mean, there are certainly Jews out there who
You
would
may
disagree with
you
that.
may
But
try.
on the whole, it's not like that
You
at
may
all.
try, but you have a look. Like we've recently had Pesach,
Mm.
right? What is that? How long has the Haggadah been around? How long have we been telling this story?
It is 3,000 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is the last thing we say as part of our Seder?
L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim.
Yerushalayim. For
Right.
3,000 years we've been saying it, and all of a sudden, since 1967, we're some kind of occupying force.
Yeah.
Right? These lefties can go and get well and truly, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Well,
And until such time as they can come to me with some evidence, they need to pull their heads in and actually,
Oh no, do the bottom
Go
lip
back-
thing. Do bottom lip.
what bottom lip?
Pull their bottom lip.
They can go pull their bottom lips up over the back of their heads
That's it, and suck
and swallow real hard. You like that expression,
I
don't
do.
you?
It's a funny one. It reminds me of our old sports teacher Ray Keane.
I'll rip your bloody
rip your
arms
heads
off.
off.
Yeah, but, that's
so
what
Melbourne
I'm
University's come out against the Monash Student Union resolution, which
so they
is
should.
good of them. I think that actually they should disband the Monash Student Union. The Melbourne
Or-
Student Union, sorry.
Or at
I keep saying
least, take some sanctions
Mm.
against them until such time as they hold new elections to put
Yeah.
new leadership
Yeah.
in place. Because at some point,
There are some states in America that have banned BDS.
we have to stand up, and you do. You have to
Some-
stand up and just say this
So
is
I can tell
wrong.
you wanted to know a bit about what's going on in the background, and I can tell you
Yeah, well,
that,
where's August in all this?
Right, so I can tell you that the August spokespeople actually spoke to the top level of Labor, and a lot of the people who are involved in Labor on the Melbourne Student Union actually pulled out of the vote, whether they just didn't go into it, or they what's it called?
Because it's going to be a bad look for Labor if
Exactly.
they seem to be supporting this, even though they've
Exactly.
never taken any
But
steps
like
against Penny Wong and her utterances.
yeah, but like Melbourne City Council, it's just all ruled by Greens now. All the inner city is ruled by Greens.
Correct.
I don't know what's going on there. The whole the whole inner city of Melbourne is all just
It's
gone
just
to
an
wreck and ruin.
absolute
It's a mess.
cesspool. During the last federal election, I was working within a waste company, and part of my job had me going through the routes through these inner suburban suburbs. You wouldn't even know if you never left Fitzroy, if you never left Brunswick. You wouldn't even know that the Liberal Party or the Labor Party existed. It was the Greens. It was the Australian.
Wow.
The Australian anarchists.
They're completely out of
was-
the mainstream politics.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, it is just an absolute cesspool of left-wing mishegas.
So everyone
in that
did as
part of
much as
town.
they could, and I suppose it's really come out now with Melbourne University. Must be the Vice Chancellor's office has made a statement, and that's as much as I suppose we could hope for. But it should have been done. They should have actually.
I think
But
you've got
they
to keep
should've- they
applying
should've done this.
pressure. I think you have to keep applying pressure until such time. You know what? This radio station
Yeah.
has been forced into making an apology,
No, they did it
Even-
voluntarily.
and conditionally. But they've made an apology even though the facts that were provided were correct. I'm not going to discuss the details of that.
Let's go forward, not backwards.
Yes, but you've got to acknowledge what has happened. You can't ignore it. Even though the facts or the information that was supplied was correct. It upset someone, but it was correct. Here we have a situation where people are releasing a statement that is 100% factually incorrect, as much as they would like these things to be true, to support their emotional well-being. The statement they have released is 100% incorrect. It is 100% false. It is 100% misleading.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
just to say, well,
I
they've
just-
made a
let
statement
me-
about
let
this,
me-
they've
let
made a
me
sta-
respond to
no,
that, Harry.
Pressure
Let me
should be
respond to that.
applied until such
No,
time
let me
as they back down.
Let me respond to that, because whether that's true or not true, I want to make a statement about that, and that is, there are people. Everyone in this world has an opinion, and their opinion is true to them. The way their belief system is
That
true
just
to them.
feeds the bullshit.
Of course,
That just feeds the bullshit.
Of course,
'Cause
it
here's-
feeds the bullshit
here's
that
where
you
the
and
rubber
I
hits the road.
believe in.
Here's where the rubber hits the road.
But
right?
this is the problem. We have to have, maybe we do have to have a society that within reason, and it's a big, like, reason is also one of those things that's hard to say, but within reason, everyone has to be right, and you can't say that someone's wrong and say that their opinion is invalid. So your opinion's valid.
Okay. Here's an example of opinion.
Yeah.
Right? I like this shirt. You hate this shirt. Right?
That's all right.
That's an opinion. And we're okay with that. But if I say that this shirt has blue and purple stripes on it, and you go, no, Harry, they're brown and green, then we have a problem, because your opinion is not supported by the facts.
Yeah.
And when you have opinion,
I noticed a guy the other day that I was working with. He was wearing,
wearing
black.
brown and
He was
green.
wearing black nail polish, and I said to him, "Is this a bit of a thing? Because this is not the first time I've seen guys wearing black nail polish." And he says, "It's just the way I want to express myself." And okay, that's fine. That's up to you, the way you want to express yourself. I have no way of saying that that's right or wrong, but it's up to him. If he wants to call that black nail polish or blue nail polish or not even nail polish, it's up to a person if they want to call it stripes or polka dots or whatever they want to call it.
No,
And we
you're-
just say, and,
No.
and if we're walking down the street,
Oh,
we just
I cannot
you and I would-
believe
you and
these,
I
I
would-
cannot believe these words are coming
You
out of
and I
your
would-
mouth.
Find us on Facebook. Just head to www.facebook.com/J Air Radio. That's 2 R's.
This goes back
J Air
to
Radio.
This goes back
You've
to
got to be kidding
Listen,
me
just listen
that
to
you
this.
are comfortable
Listen.
in that world where you go, oh, well, you're prepared to ignore
Listen,
the facts, that's
we
fine.
you and I love Ricky Gervais. He's a fantastic atheist. He's one of the biggest atheists in the world, right? And he was having an argument, what was it, 5 or so years
God
ago?
bless him.
God bless him. He was having an argument 5 years ago that if everything in this entire world, all the knowledge was absolutely destroyed and we went back to nothing, within 1,000 years, we would have all of the science and all the mathematics back to what it is today. And so that's a belief, that's a system that he can have a belief in, right? As opposed to religion, where it would be, you would struggle to bring back a Torah, for example. Now, he said that the Big Bang started out from something minuscule, right? I learned from physics school on YouTube, you know, one of your favourite places,
Yep.
that the Big Bang was not such a minuscule little thing. It was big. As in, it was a big blob of whatever the hell it was. So for, let's just say, 100 years, we thought the Big Bang was a tiny little singularity. And now it's not, right? If he wants to believe that that's what his idea of the beginning of the universe is, good luck to him. We have our belief. We can't say that. We can't say
But
that
as
what
we then-
his idea is
hold
right
on,
or
hold
wrong,
on,
and he
hold
can't
on,
say what our idea is
hold
right or
on,
wrong.
Hold on.
Go on.
Because you and I also had a discussion about this previously, and it came down to the only reason science would make a comeback, right? Would we get the Torah in the same fashion? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, we might.
I'm going to say yes,
Sure.
because it has come from divine decree. But even if we had to wait a little bit longer to get it, the only reason maths would come back, science would come back, this system of inquiry would come back is because of human nature and that continual search for meaning and to make sense of this world. That has to come before any science. The science is only developed because of this constant search.
I'm just saying that anyone who
But for
wants
you
to
to say
believe...
you're happy to live in a world where the vast majority of people are comfortable ignoring the facts and ignoring the truth. If some guy wants to wear black nail polish,
you and I,
good on him.
You and I subscribe and are agreeable to a set of norms that has come to be the convention in this world over time and history, right?
It's not even norms. It's if this is
it's
true, it is
norms.
true.
No.
If it is not true, tell your story walking.
The Americans have their way of doing grammar and punctuation and spelling words, and we have our way.
Okay,
right?
but we can still communicate.
We can still communicate, but their dictionary
That's
is
where
not
opinion
going to
doesn't-
agree with our dictionary.
But that's where opinion doesn't matter, and there are some issues where opinion doesn't matter. You like the colour green, I like the colour red. It doesn't matter. But if you're going to try and tell me that there's a group of people in the Middle East that have been displaced since 1947
yeah.
because of our mob, I'm going to tell you to go and get well and truly, because that is not the case.
Okay, so you're entitled to feel that way.
I don't feel that way. These are the facts. There has been...
I agree with you, they're the facts.
So then what are you arguing with me for?
Because this
Hello,
other
sir.
group of
I'm here for an argument. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
because this
No, you're
other
not. Well, this
this
isn't really
other
an
group
argument.
of people is entitled to their set of belief, even though we know it's wrong.
Therefore,
Yeah, and they
they're
think we're
not...
wrong.
Therefore, there is no entitlement to that belief.
But they think we're wrong.
It's...
So where do we go from there?
Because they refuse to... If you refuse to recognise the facts, if you refuse to recognise the actualities of history, then you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. And the problem is these days, people are saying whatever the hell they want on
Yeah.
so many bloody topics that Mr. Average
I'm
out
not
there who
disagreeing.
wants to be a fair and reasonable
I
person
agree with
doesn't
you.
know which way is up anymore.
I agree with
so
you.
then just shut up after saying that. That's all you got to do. Harry, I agree with you.
No,
Thank you. That's it.
I agree with you that that's the way it should be.
That's the way it has to be in order for...
No, that isn't the way it has to be, obviously, because that's
Yeah,
reality.
We could go around just lying our asses off
Yes,
to each
people
other
do.
and pretending to be whatever we may
That's
not
why-
be.
That's why you have some asshole in the Fines Victoria who wants to say that I need to pay a ticket even though I bought a ticket.
That's a different matter. That's
It's
simply
not.
a matter
It's
of,
their opinion versus my opinion.
no, you have evidence to show that. Now what you've got to do is wade through all the bureaucratic crap so that it gets to the point where someone says, yes, based on these facts, based on this evidence, you
I
have
think
done
that's
what you
why-
said you have done.
I think that's why, like on times like Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, we talk about the ultimate true judge. Because here on this earth, everything is tainted. It's been tainted. Judgments
Only because
and
we
people's
allow
belief system.
we allow it. Only because we've allowed
There are
it.
some things we can't do
If there are
anything
people-
about.
But if you're standing in front of
Amalek
someone,
is still going to be Amalek.
if you're
The
standing,
only way to get rid of Amalek is to destroy them. But they're never going to be destroyed.
if you are standing in front of someone who is clearly
Yeah.
hitting you up
Mm.
with bullshit, that's the time to stand up. Not to walk away and go, oh, they're entitled to their opinion.
Okay.
No.
So can we move on
No.
to something else?
I'm not going to buy into your bullshit on any subject at any point in time.
So let's just move into a new topic. But we're going off on a tangent, strangely.
Because that's what we do.
The whole idea of never again. Everyone says never again. We get up and in solidarity we say never again.
And
What
yet,
bloody bullshit
it happens
is this?
again and again and
because
again.
it happens again and again.
yeah.
And the people who are saying never again are not doing anything physically, anything practically of any worth about it except mouthing epithets of never again.
But it's okay because their opinion is they don't want it to happen again. They don't have to do anything physically about it. We just have
So-
to support the whatever the frickin' cause is on any given day thanks to social media, because honestly, unless you're going to pick yourself up and take yourself to some other war-torn part of the world and grab a gun and fight side by side with these people,
Yep.
there is nothing you can do. And when we say never again, 9 times out of 10, it's our mob saying it about our mob.
It's our mob.
Saying it. You need to be using a microphone, Rabbi.
It's our mob saying it about... Right, it is!
It's just our mob saying it about our mob. So as long as it doesn't happen to us again, we recognise the fact that it's going to happen to somebody else somewhere else,
Yep.
but it's not going to happen to us again. There is nothing I can physically do, let's say, other than jumping on a plane and going and fighting, whether I choose to take up the cause in Europe or take up the cause
Maybe there
for
are things we
someone
can
in
do here.
Africa or whatever it may be,
Yep.
right? There is nothing I can physically do. I mean, there are even laws preventing me from doing it,
Okay.
right? If
Maybe
I
we
go-
can go and protest outside the Russian embassy here. Or organise worldwide protests outside Russian embassies.
Yes, and within 48 hours, a report appears on the desk, dear Mr. Premier, people in Melbourne not very happy with you. Like,
Well,
nobody
has there been
cares.
an outcry against Russia with people actually on the streets protesting?
Would it matter?
Maybe it would.
You
if we
think?
maybe we,
You
in the
think?
same way that they're invading
Like,
Ukraine, maybe we can
you're talking
invade
about a guy
Russian
whose country has
Russian
been...
embassies and
But you're
consulates.
talking about a guy who effectively his country's been shut down financially, and he's still going. After 2 months.
Did you see he wants Poland and whoever else to pay for their gas in rubles
Yeah.
in order to prop up their economy? Obviously.
Yeah. He's going to try all sorts of things. This guy will not stop. He's a big fanboy of the Stalins, of the Lenins, of the despots of the
KGB.
past of the past,
Mm.
and he will not stop
Yeah.
until he is either dead or he has achieved his goal.
But it upsets me to keep saying never again, and there's nothing I can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. But it makes a lot of people feel better when they say it, when they put up a post on their social media. Oh, I'm united with whoever it is. Yeah, you're that united? Go over there. All right, actually go do something voluntarily, whether it be, patching up wounded soldiers or helping evacuate kids out of cities that are being bombed. Put your money where your mouth is.
It's a bit like that Aboriginal thing that we all say at the beginning of every,
Anapaka, brother.
No, at the beginning of all political speeches and all gatherings, someone has to say,
I recognise the
land.
never
Mate,
touch
if
the
you
booty.
bloody recognise the land, give them your house.
Exactly.
But it's all rubbish. It's all epithets and
Correct.
and word play.
Yep. Yeah, yep. Nobody
But I want to
actually
be able to do
means-
something about it, Harry.
Okay. So what do you have in mind?
Maybe we should organise protests for against the Russian embassies.
Again,
It's
is
not
that
gonna do
going to
anything.
do anything?
No, probably not.
The only
I don't
thing
know.
you
Maybe it
can
will.
do
Worldwide Russian
is actually
protest.
go over there. How many
Anti-Russian
how many
protests.
Yidden in 67 just jumped on aeroplanes
Mm.
and went to Israel?
Yeah.
By the time they got there, the war was the war was already over, but they got up and they went. Right? That's the only thing that's going to make a difference at this stage.
Yeah.
Maybe, God willing, things will settle down very shortly, and we can send money, we can send aid, we can do all sorts of things that will make a difference to the people that are left. But whilst there is actual fighting going on, there's just nothing we can do about it. The right stuff.
It's been a very steamy evening, hasn't it?
Well, I can't believe some of the concepts you're trying to foist upon our poor, suffering, long-suffering listener. You've
I don't know.
absolutely done my head in.
I know I have.
That you're quite happy to vacillate to the whims and fancies of nut jobs.
Well, maybe when we were younger, we had this idea that everything should be black and white, and as we get older, and I turned 49 yesterday, that those edges have been dulled a little bit.
I think they would have only got harder.
Well, all of the hawks in the the generals in the Israeli army and all that, they became almost pro-socialist and peace-loving prime ministers and presidents
Mm.
who shook hands with the enemy.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being a prime minister and being a general. Like, as a prime minister, you've got to be half a diplomat. Well, you have to be a diplomat as a prime minister. And whatever economic
But obviously
system
they
you
were,
think is
obviously
best
they
for
were
your
hawks when they were
country.
generals and when they were brigadiers and whatever
Exactly,
they were.
because they had to be. Their lives were at stake.
Yeah, but also I think it's just a matter of a time in
But
your life
I just can't believe
when you've had certain
you're
amounts of
prepared.
experiences.
You're prepared to acquiesce on such big issues.
It's just
Like, at
hard.
what
It's
point
hard
does it- at what
because
point
you
does
and
it
I have
end?
certain opinions.
At what point
It's
does
like
it end?
Sir John Monash, when he became the commander of the Allied forces. His whole way of dealing with army tactics changed. It was a new way. He did not believe that infantry should be cannon fodder, and he protected his men and women. So if it wasn't for change and people thinking differently, and I'm not saying all the time it's going to be correct or right, but if you don't have some changes
I
or think
have
differently,
no problem in people thinking differently. If people didn't think differently, we wouldn't have people who do research in all sorts of different areas and make new discoveries based on the evidence and facts that they've discovered. Right? I mean, how would you feel if all of a sudden there was a new treatment for whatever heinous disease it was, and the only reason it's been approved is because, well, the doctors, it'd be nice if it did work, but we're going to have to do it on, We're going to have to do this procedure on at least 1,000 people before we know if it actually works or not. Right?
Yeah, there are hard decisions to be made.
Right? I've got no problem with people thinking differently. I've got no problem with left of centre individuals. Right? For the most part, I am one. What I have a problem with are people
Yep.
who want to shout you down because not only do you not think like them, but then you're expecting them to provide the evidence to back up their argument, which they cannot do.
But do you realise the privilege of the last 100 years has brought you as a Jew? 100 years ago, you wouldn't have had the place to make your opinion heard. You wouldn't have the place.
100 years ago, I would have probably been living in it. Well, 100 years ago, I would not have been born. You know, let's be honest. We were only here due to the circumstances that
Yeah, but
sort of
your
allowed that. But
great
you know,
great
our
grandparents.
great-great-grandparents, they were little shtetl dwellers. You know,
But only because they weren't
the
allowed
world-
to have professions in
Yep,
bigger
but
industry.
their world wasn't that big.
The world was
you know.
plenty big enough 100 years ago. It's just that there wasn't a place for Jews.
There wasn't.
And now
but
there
what there
is.
was a place for,
And someone had to open the door for them.
but what there was a place for is the facts are the facts.
Well, they could have said that 100 bloody years ago. There were plenty of, there was that guy
I
that
don't
said...
understand the point you're trying to make here, Pesach. I don't understand why you're trying to make excuses
Yeah.
for people to get away with Bubbermeisters.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that controversial. We shouldn't need to have radio stations making apologies for people who say men can't get pregnant. That should not be a controversial statement.
I'm going to say something
There should
to
not
you
be a
that's good.
need
I'm gonna
for
make you- can I
a
make you
radio
walk out of
station
it?
to
Can I
make an
make you walk out of
apology.
here? Just calm down.
If someone turns around and says Zionism is intrinsic,
Yeah.
is inherent, it is part of being
You know what?
Jewish.
A lot
It's
of
not a
these things-
colonial thing that started in
A lot of these
1947.
things are all about the person who can scream the loudest and
Right.
the longest. It is,
It's just about
It's
the
all-
people
it's all
who
a game.
who are making
It's a
the
game.
noise.
It's a game.
But if you're prepared to acquiesce to that, we do not stand a chance against it. If you're prepared to go, yep, okay, fine, then don't expect anyone to stand up for you.
when
Right
the-
is
when the
right,
Tor-
wrong is wrong,
when
and
the
wrong will
Torah-
never be right.
When the Torah was written, there were obviously men that dressed as women because the Torah banned it. Correct?
Yes.
Otherwise, why would the Torah have gone to the extent of even saying it if it wasn't in existence? So it must have been the case.
But I'm talking about on all these issues.
Well,
on
I'm
all-
picking an
all
issue
these
because
issues. So,
I
for
can't
example-
argue against all of them, so I have to go
But
with one.
okay,
You
but
know,
let's
you want
not-
evidence, and
let's
I'm
not
trying to
keep
give
going-
you some bloody evidence.
Okay, but let's not keep going to the
No,
same
let me.
one.
Which one do you want to go to? I'm trying to pick one.
Okay, go.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've
Go.
got to tell you about holes in a plane.
No, I don't want to hear about holes in a plane.
Oh, come on, let me tell you about holes in
Fine,
a
talk
plane.
to me about holes in a plane. Here we go, on a tangent.
We're always looking for people with an interest in radio, either presenting your own show or being on the technical side. Become a volunteer now. Head to our website at j-air.com.au. Follow the Get Involved link and click on Become a Volunteer Now.
By the way, real.
Yeah, volunteer. We need a producer. 9069-2087 is the number to call if you want to apply for the job.
Sandra Cohen says, Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach, Sandra.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
back
for
to you
listening
too,
to
Sandra.
us.
Thank you.
A reel is a short video, probably up to about 30 seconds,
Okay.
on YouTube and on Facebook, and
No,
also
YouTube do
Instagram
shorts.
as well. Sorry?
YouTube have shorts.
No, shorts is like about
Which I
5 to
don't-
10 seconds.
which I don't get involved with
no, I
either.
don't get. But reels are longer and they can give you a
Okay,
bit
and what
more
does this have to do with
information.
holes on a plane?
Okay, so I was watching a short video.
My goodness, you even started the segment on a tangent. You couldn't help yourself. We're going to come back and talk about holes on a plane.
Well,
this is what a
while
reel
we're,
is.
While we're on the
Come on, holes on a
subject-
plane. Yalla, yalla, yalla. We're here for a good time, not a
you
long
are
time.
Incorrigible.
Come on.
All right, holes in a plane, and this actually is related to what I was talking about. So there was an
What do you do with
Austrian
the holes?
an Austrian Jew who came to America sometime during World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and and he was a great mathematician, and he was enlisted by the Air Force to look at the aeroplanes and find out ways to make the aeroplanes better or safer or, whatever they could do.
Improve.
And they were looking at the aeroplanes that came back from the pina coladas at Mizrahi are delicious and quite strong. I think she's had a few too many pina coladas. Thanks, Sandra.
Not necessarily. As long as you're enjoying them.
Gabby, if you're listening, bring me back one. So he was looking at the aeroplanes that came back from combat missions in World War II. What are you doing?
Shh, you just keep talking.
Okay. And he noticed, or they noticed, that there were holes from being shot at all throughout the plane.
Right.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
What did I just say?
They're looking at holes that have been shot in the planes.
Two down. That's it. Okay. So
Doesn't matter if I'm listening. It's whether the listeners are listening.
they said, how can we make the plane safer? And he said, you need to reinforce and shield the areas of the plane where there are no holes.
Right.
Now, wouldn't you think the obvious thing to do was to reinforce and shield the planes where there are holes?
Well, you'd think so.
Okay, so the planes made it back even though there were holes
Right.
in those particular places.
Yeah.
So it means that the holes in those places were not intrinsic to the plane returning. Guess which planes hadn't returned?
The ones that didn't have
That
holes.
didn't have holes, or that had holes in all those other areas, except they had no evidence.
Sure.
Because all those planes had been shot down. So he said you need to reinforce the areas of the plane where there are no holes, and more planes came back.
Right.
What are we
Don't
doing?
worry about what I'm
Rupert
doing.
Holmes.
Don't worry about
Oh.
what I'm... Don't
Go
you
on.
worry about what I'm
Play it.
doing.
Okay,
So
so that was my holes in a plane.
okay. So yeah, this one's for Sandra Cohen. If you like peeing on koalas,
Koalas.
getting caught in the rain. If you're not into yoga, if you have half a brain, if you like making love at midnight. All right, we hope you
What
enjoy
kind
your
of-
pina coladas.
I have
You've
never
heard
seen
this
that song
song
before.
Man, this is a classic.
Then I'm the love that you've looked for.
If you like peeing on koalas,
Write to me and escape. Is that
you'll
it?
have to listen to it. You'll have to
I'll
listen
have
to
to
it at
listen
home.
to it. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
it's
thanks for that.
it is. It's a class you've never heard.
Yeah, sure. If you like pina coladas, but it's the only words of the song I know.
You're probably
Go
more a
back to
Bucks.
the other screen.
You're probably more a Bucks Fizz fan, yeah.
Oh, no, I never really got
I
into
got
Bucks Fizz.
do push pineapple, shake the tree. I
no,
got
we're
do.
not going to go there. It's the Omra. We're not allowed to have songs.
But it's
okay,
for
we've-
educational
we've done
purposes.
that. Giving away tefillin. Let's have a quick chat about it.
Okay, I'm against it.
So someone asked if they could have, if you're not wearing your tefillin anymore,
Yeah.
I'd like to buy it from you. And you and I
So
like
I don't even think they were offering any sort of monetary
No, they were.
compensation.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
they
a
were.
case of if you'd like to donate them to people
Oh.
who would use them.
Okay.
And either way, that's not the relevant part of...
The point is,
The point is, you shouldn't be encouraging someone
yeah,
to get rid of
their mitzvahs.
something that if they woke up one morning and chose to do the mitzvah,
Yeah.
they then couldn't do the mitzvah.
Oh, I tell you what, I reacted with that response, and I was pilloried by the
I'm not-
Melbourne left. Oh,
Yeah, but you
they
know
all
what?
came
I'm
out.
I'm not a daily tefillin donner.
Mm.
I'm the first one to admit that. But yeah, that call out really just
I would have expected you to
And hit
agree
a-
with it, actually.
it hit a nerve. You'd expect me to agree
Yeah,
with it.
because I'm not using it. Let someone else put it to good use. Bugger it.
I can understand if someone put a quote, listen, I'm going to be in this area. I've come from interstate, overseas, whatever. I forgot to pack my tefillin. Can somebody help me out? I'm in Melbourne for a week. No, I get that,
Yeah.
right? But to ask someone to give away, meaning they will never be able to do the mitzvah, even if they chose to do the mitzvah, you know, it's like the person who's asking, I know they want to help other people do mitzvahs, but that requires you to then prevent others from doing like, you're preventing one by helping another. Well,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't even be looking to
What
help
this person
the
should
other.
have
You've got to
even
find
should have
another
said, if you're
way
not
around
using
it.
your tefillin,
Can we come to your house
that's
and
right.
fill it?
Let's do it.
You know?
That's right. Exactly.
So yeah, that was
Anyway.
just the one that got on.
It's been a
got
wonderful
on my
evening, Harry.
nerves. It has. We're out of time. I really wanted to talk about abortion
Give me a
because I'm
quick thing about
thinking
abortion.
now that I can gestate. What are my options? But we'll have to talk about that next week.
Before we finish off,
Um,
I just want to say I absolutely 110% agree with you, and it wasn't necessarily all BS that I was saying before, but for the most part, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, thank you, and I love you too.
But
Unfortunately,
it was a good argument.
It was a
It
great
was a
argument.
bloody good argument. You
It was a-
almost walked out.
It was. I didn't walk out. I
Would
was.
you ever walk out?
I was about to.
Would you ever walk out?
No, I was about to just burst into tears. But that could wait till I get home. Unfortunately, Dwayne from Ital Music 84 is
Yeah,
not
where's
here.
Dwayne?
I think he's in Italy this week
yeah.
for Eurovision. So we're going to go back to our regular scheduled programming.
Actual Israel
really
music,
exciting
Jewish
Israeli music.
And
So
happy Yom
thank you very
Ha'atzmaut to
much.
Israel. And we will have a minute silence to ourselves for Yom HaZikaron, for the fallen soldiers, and lots of love to everyone.
And have a good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.